This rebuild ends when Buffon retires. We'll be taking on Parma in Serie B for this challenge, the club that Buffon actually got his start at and returned to in 2021. Parma was challenging to be one of the world's best clubs in the 1990s before undergoing financial troubles. They're now under new ownership and are competing to return back to Italy's top flight. We easily have one of the best youth academies that rivals some of the top clubs, and we'll begin our search in Italy searching for any type of player. But the primary focus will be on our homegrown talent. Dennis Bianco starts as a striker center forward, but his attributes say center back to me. No change to his rating, but he's going to follow in the footsteps of one of Parma's most iconic players and captain of the Italian national team during their 2006 World Cup victory, Fabio Cannavaro. With our defense covered, I want to turn attention to our attack, and we'll be signing another player that resembles a Parma icon of the 90s, that being Hernan Crespo. It would have been perfect if we were a year earlier and Julian Alvarez hadn't already moved from River Plate to Manchester City, but Facundo Farias is another solid option from the Argentine league. With the need to move to Europe to further his career, I believe the realistic possibility of playing in Serie A next year could be appealing to him as he becomes our new number 9 signing for a transfer fee of 10 million. But we are ready to begin our league campaign against another of my favorite clubs in Serie B, Como. Here's the starting 11 though, Buffon leading the charge from the back, 79 rated being our highest overall player, but Bianco has the most potential. I think he's going to play a key role in this rebuild. Of course, Farias at the striker position. I think expectations are pretty clear. We need to push for promotion, if not win the league title, and we do manage to start off with a 1-0 victory against Como, despite having the lesser of the two statistics. But January 2023, we'll see how the squad is looking. It's an interesting mix between veteran players like Buffon, who actually is not dropping in his rating, and of course, young prospects like Bianco, who is quickly rising in his overall. Just a single departure in January, Ansaldi, with 6 months remaining on his contract, will be leaving to, I believe, a Turkish league club. He's a veteran of the Italian leagues, but unfortunately his overall is just dropping too quickly to be a contender in this Parma team. But we will actually see a highlighted match in this first season. It's the final match day, and as we take a look at the standings, we are in contention of winning the league title. We've already secured promotion to Serie A next season, but I also wanted to take a moment to showcase our customized stadium. I did my best to recreate the Stadio Ennio Tardini. I think I've done a pretty decent job. The iconic yellow seats are the biggest factor if you ever want to recreate this stadium. Career mode does receive some negative press from time to time, but I think EA have done a great job by including players like Cannavaro for Parma. Even though they're a second division team in Italy, the fact that we have Serie B back in the game is huge, and I think it's going to be the first of many Italian rebuilds this year. But we do manage to start off with a goal from our homegrown talent Bianco, the center back following in the footsteps of Cannavaro, scoring from that corner kick. And that is exactly how we wanted to start this one. We will need a lot of luck on our side if we want to win the league title, but I don't think we need to worry about losing this one, as Vasquez, in his final Parma appearance, will also score a goal. Our number 10, making sure that we can double our lead, and we're also going to feature Ansaldi for the final 30 minutes or so of this one. It is sad to see him leaving, but it's a promising future we have at Parma. We need to bring in younger talents to the team, and these older players are just not going to cut it. We managed to get a second chance here as we try to get our third goal. Estevez finding Farias in the outside the foot shot, finding the back of the net. Exactly what we were looking for in this striker signing. And that is how things will end. 3-0, no trophy celebration, unfortunately, but a lot of positive momentum heading into Season 2. A look at our accomplishments will see us finish second in Serie B, a quarterfinals appearance in the Coppa Italia. Not bad at all, as Genoa will win the league with 85 points. Frosinone will also be receiving the promotion to Italy's top flight as they defeat Bari on aggregate in the promotion playoff final. And for the relegation spots, I'm assuming it's the bottom 3 teams with Südtirol, Cittadella, and Cosenza seeing relegation. An outlook on Serie A will see another of Buffon's former teams, Juventus, win the league by 9 points. Roma, Napoli, and Atalanta rounding out the top 4. And relegation spots going to Lecce, Empoli, and Cremonese. It's Milan to defeat Inter in the Coppa Italia final. And for the Champions League, it's Bayern beating Dortmund in Der Klassiker. Europa League going to Sevilla as they defeat PSV. And for Conference League, Villarreal will see a victory against Fiorentina in the final. Some huge overall growth from Farias this season, up +5 in his rating to 80 and just about 30 goals across all competitions. Mihaila up +6 in his overall to 77. And a quick look at some of our findings from Italy. We have Daniela Rossi, not Daniela De Rossi, the 61 rated Italian center forward, potential 73 to 91, and Claudio Costa, a 56 rated Italian goalkeeper. Despite all our success this season, we didn't meet all of our manager objectives, so we'll need to build upon that next year. We've returned Parma back to Serie A. The question now is if we can keep our place in Italy's top flight. We're going to need to improve upon our starting 11, that's no question. But for board objectives, looks like we need to continue signing younger players and also sell a few and sign important players to replace them. Our expectation from the board is to finish mid-table, and we have a current transfer budget of 20 million. Our first priority is to renew Buffon's contract. We've managed to secure him for an additional 2 years, so we'll see at least 4 seasons in this rebuild. But our next signing will resemble one of Colombia's best all-time players, Faustino Asprilla. He's had a storied career that saw his best form at Parma and Newcastle. Options are somewhat limited for high potential Colombian strikers, but Cucho Hernandez has a real face gain game, and although he's recently made a big move from Watford to MLS, I don't think his playing days in Europe are necessarily over. It's a 15 million fee to secure his signature, as we've got a second striker to play alongside Farias. Speaking of Newcastle, they were interested in signing Bianco, but there's no way we'll be accepting that, as we will see a couple of player departures, Coutinho joining Henk for a 2 million transfer fee, and Osorio going to Valladolid for 1.75 million. But competition is immediately going to get more difficult. We'll start our season against Atalanta. Here's the new look starting 11. We've seen a couple of improvements, but with a limited budget, I don't know how our season's going to fare. With that said, we still look defensively sound, a clean sheet in our opener, and we'll try to carry that momentum here into January 2024. Surprisingly, we are in the running for European competitions, 8th place, so we're exceeding expectations to finish mid-table. The starting 11 has seen some gradual improvements, the younger players growing in their overall, and Buffon keeping his place as a 79 overall keeper. One departure with Grassi joining Club Brugge. This ended up being a 3.5 million transfer fee that allows us to sign an additional youth academy scout, a 5-star one, in the hopes of finding a technically gifted player from Bulgaria, which if you didn't know, Hristo Stoichkov also played for Parma. But in back-to-back seasons, our featured fixture will be on the final match day. It's an away match against Sampdoria, and it has big implications because a win will secure our place in Europa League next season, finishing ahead of Fiorentina. Sampdoria, a decent opponent, but I think from a rating perspective, we're on an equal basis. If we are going to get a victory, I think it will come off of goals from Farias. He scored 4 from his last 3 fixtures, and he has proven to be a leader for us here at Parma. Another perk of doing an Italian career mode is that you've got the official Serie A broadcast package, so another addition for your own career mode saves. But I was speaking about Farias, he of course will get the opener for us just 15 minutes in and kind of setting the tempo of how we wanted to play. We wanted to get the victory, and it wouldn't prove to be easy because Sampdoria off of a corner kick is going to bounce the ball around, and it's Candreva with an impressive finish. It was actually his first goal in Serie A all season. It's one of those graphics that popped up later on. So unfortunate to concede the equalizer, and as we get into the second half, we look to answer. 55th minute, we'll send in the cross just above the ongoing striker, and in the 62nd minute, it's another impressive bit of play from Sampdoria and an equal finish from our opponents. 2 goals I don't think we could have done much about. Disappointing to see considering we were looking to secure all 3 points. We do finally manage to create a highlight here in the final minutes of the match. Hernandez with the equalizer. That was not enough to get the win, but as we take a look at our full season recap, we've somehow finished 6th. Fiorentina apparently losing on their final match day, which is very fortunate for us because had they won, they definitely would have advanced through to goal differential. As far as relegation spots, it's Spezia, Genoa, and Frosinone who will go back down to Serie B. But I was surprised to see that Fiorentina offered us the manager position. I think it is fair considering they missed out on that 6th place spot. And as we take a look at their squad, it would definitely be an upgrade for us. They got some great players in career mode, and if I was doing a personal save, I would maybe accept this offer. Really, the only high potential talent that's left the club is Milenkovic. But of course, we'll be continuing with Parma as Cagliari and Lecce see promotion from Serie B. Roma end up winning the Coppa Italia alongside the Serie A title. Real Madrid defeats Bayern in the Champions League final. BVB, another final appearance from them as they win Europa League this year, and Chelsea defeat Eintracht Frankfurt in the Conference League. Back-to-back seasons with Farias as the top goal scorer, up to an 82 overall, and our new signing Hernandez up +4 to an 81, leading the club in assists. All 11 of those assists coming in Serie A, which made him the top assist maker in the league. Buffon with the most clean sheets, which was very impressive for him, well into his 40s now, as Rossi sees some growth, +9 in his overall to 70 overall, and our loaned out goalkeeper a +8 to a 64 rating. We had some luck finding a good potential player from Bulgaria, Lazar Iliev, a 76 to 94 potential player with a 3.2 million evaluation already. He's at a 76 overall, so we'll loan him out immediately next season and hope that he can grow even higher in his rating. But our manager rating staying pretty consistent in the mid-70s. European competitions for Parma in Season 3. I would argue Parma's biggest accomplishments came in 94-95 and 98-99 when they won the UEFA Cup. Can we do the same thing this year? As for domestic success, we need to qualify for European competition. Continental success, reach the group stage of Europa League. A sharp rise in our transfer budget though, is we have over 50 million to work with. That number is going to go up because we received some big offers. The first one for one of our left backs, Jaden Oosterwolde, heading to Wolfsburg on what will be a 25 million transfer fee. Dennis Mann also going to Newcastle. He submitted a transfer request, so he leaves for 20 million. With newfound funds available, we're going to sign the son of another former Parma great. Lilian Thuram was a key player for Parma in the late 90s. More solid performances followed at Juve and Barcelona to close out his career. Since we already have a lot of strikers, I'm going to option away from Marcus Thuram and instead sign his brother Kepren Thuram. He's made a couple of appearances in my career modes for FIFA 23, so I know he's going to be a solid addition to strengthen our midfield, joining on a 35 million transfer fee and making our side competitive for Europe. But we won't stop there. Ezequiel Palacios is up next, and he will be our resemblance to another icon of the game, Juan Sebastian Veron. Although his time at Parma was short, it was eventful, as he helped Parma win the Coppa Italia and UEFA Cup during the 98-99 season. While not an identical style of play, Palacios is an all-around midfielder, and he'll join us on a 35 million transfer fee. This is a sound deal for our future. A lot of competitions to think about this season, but we need to start by holding our own in Italy. We've got a new look starting 11 with some considerable improvements in the midfield, and a change for Adrian Bernabé. He goes to center attacking mid, which will give him a +1 in his rating to 75. I know we have European ambitions, but that will depend on our opponents in the group stage. We do have Lille, Galatasaray, and Sturm Graz in the Europa League. MLS MVP Hanil Mukhtar being the main signing from Lille. As for Galatasaray, they do have Yusuf Demir, the high potential Austrian player. Sturm Graz is probably the least favorite to advance out of our group, but their highest potential player is William Boving at a 71 overall rating. Checking up on results in January 2025, we find ourselves top 4 in Serie A, 34 points, and in contention of battling for the league title. For Europa League, we did quite well, only drawing a single match, winning the rest of them, and finishing with 16 points. We're holding steady for our player ratings, so we'll head right into the round of 16 of Europa League against Lyon. They have made a great signing and a player that we should be familiar with in Serie A with Moise Kean. We do end up winning the first match though, 1-0, only goal coming from Farias, and the second leg ends in a 1-1 draw. Aston Villa will be our opponents for the quarterfinals. A new look ahead with Unai Emery as he's brought in Martin Zubimendi from La Liga. And we do end up winning the first leg in a very eventful affair at 3-2. Second leg, not very much the case with 0-0 being the scoreline. But that was enough for us to advance to the semifinals, where we will face another Premier League opponent with West Ham. Xavi Simon's making the move from PSV over to London as he's at an 82 overall rating. I think that's got to be him to score the only goal in the first leg, but we do see redemption in the second leg, pushing things to extra time. Rocucho Hernandez scoring the winning one in the 98th minute. Before we can play the Europa League final, we have the Coppa Italia final against Inter Milan. They've had a lot of success so far in this rebuild, reaching the latter stages of competitions, and they will get the victory 2-0. So With a match ahead against Lazio, we're going to review the league standings. We have already secured our place in the Champions League next year, so we don't need to worry about that. But winning a trophy, especially the Europa League before Buffon retires, would be a huge achievement for us. Getting Parma back to this stage of European competitions is a huge achievement, especially this early on in the rebuild. But there's been something special brewing here at Parma, especially with Buffon not dropping in his rating at all. We nearly score from another corner kick as it's Thuram who has his effort go off of the crossbar. And a good save in the end from Buffon to keep that one from going in. Hernandez called offside just after the start of the second half. And a mistake out of the back. We'll see a chance for Lazio. It's Sergej Milinkovic-Savic who has stayed true to his team here as he finds the inside pass, and Lazio scoring the opener in what will be the final highlight of this match. It just seemed like we couldn't break down Lazio's defense. The relegation spots of the season going to Sampdoria, Venezia, and Cagliari, with Empoli and Spezia getting promotion to Serie A. The Champions League winners were Juventus as they defeat Roma in an all-Italian final. Conference League going to Newcastle as they get the win against Lens. I've got to applaud the efforts from Hernandez and Furias, 32 goals from both of them, and they were by far the leaders for us as far as the goal and assist categories go. But a checkup on Iliev, he's up +7 to a 74 overall rating. Rossi's also at a 74 rating, and our goalkeeper at a 69 rating. So we've got some promising youth academy players that might factor into our substitutes next year. And to make matters better, our manager rating has gone up. So in what will be a crucial fourth season, maybe we can accomplish even more at Parma. 4 seasons in, and I believe we built a Parma team that is comparable to that of the late 90s. This will be the final season for Gianluigi Buffon, so everything is on the line here in season 4. Board expectations, we need to sign some fantastic players, finish in a Champions League spot in Italy, and for the Champions League, again, just reach the group stage, so no problem there. Budget-wise, we have over 100 million to work with. And with this being our final season, we're going to go all out and sign the son of another Parma player, Enrico Chiesa. His 4 seasons at Parma saw him compete in the Champions League, so I thought it was fitting that we sign his son, Federico Chiesa, for Parma's return to Champions League football. It's a big transfer fee of 95 million, pretty much depleting all of our transfer budget on this single signing, but I'm all right with that because we'll see our season start against AC Milan. Here's the starting 11, not optioning for any changes, instead featuring Chiesa over on that right-hand side. And I want to do more than just a top 4 finish. I want to push for the Serie A title and, of course, try to win the Champions League, which Buffon has never done in his career. We've got PSG, PSV, and Copenhagen as our opponents. The highest overall rated player at PSG is Donnarumma, which Buffon also played for a brief stint in his career. Moni Madueke keeping his place at PSV and up to an 84 overall rating, and Johannesson being the highest rated player at Copenhagen at a 76 overall. It's an important check-in for January 2026. We find ourselves again top 4 in Italy. Few points off of Inter for the top spot, but importantly, we will be advancing out of our Champions League group. PSG were by far the best team, but what's important is we're into the knockout stages. This is the starting 11, no changes because we don't have the budget, and our first fixture will be against Liverpool. They've made a great signing in Jamal Musiala. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do at the upcoming World Cup. Clearly he's a force to be reckoned with as he scored a goal in Liverpool's 4-2 victory. But we will see a comeback in the second leg, nearly advancing in 90 minutes had it not been for Diego Jota's goal. But I think stamina came into play and Baumgartner got the winner for Liverpool. It's sad to see our Parma dreams end the way it did, but overall, I think we saw a swift rise with this club. A 5th place finish for us in Serie A, with Inter winning the league title. Hellas Verona, Pisa, and Lecce getting relegation. Juve will win the Coppa Italia final against Fiorentina. Champions League goes to Bayer Leverkusen. Spurs with the Europa League win, and it's Monaco to win Conference League. What a storied career, though, for Gianluigi Buffon. Who knows what's next for him once his playing days are done. Maybe he could end up being a manager, and I wouldn't be surprised if he had a role at Parma in some capacity. But hopefully you all enjoyed this journey with Buffon. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.